Hello and welcome to another installment of me showing off design work. This one is extremely theoretical, and if you don't want it spoiled, then I recommend not watching this particular video. What I'm about to show you is the design work for the USSA Trey Gowdy supercarrier. Well, presidential class supercarrier. It's the Fallout universe. I kind of did a joke. Yeah. Anyway, what you're about to see, I'm going to start with the exterior design, which will be like something you can move into the main Fallout 4 Boston area, or you can put it into something else you want to do. But let's get started. I'm going to start off by simply traversing to the main world cell. You'll notice that the design work for the supercarrier exterior is slightly different from what you saw in the prior video. Mainly I just wanted the caution lines, and I wanted it a bit more streamlined, a little bit more functional, sort of undercarriage deck, underdeck, whatever. Anyway, I wanted a more functional look for the exterior. This is the base design. From here you can add all your other stuff that you might want. For example, if you want to add more crates onto the surface carrier deck, and you can see how I sort of changed the new design for the you can see how I just kind of changed how it kind of looks and flows. Now I'm going to say this, once again, reiterating my point, this would not float at all. I mean, if you put this out on the open sea, it would capsize like a taco. But that's enough of that. Time to show off the interiors. Everything has already been completed for the interior of this ship. We're talking 2 hangars, we're talking command deck, the general quarters, the generator room, and I was very thorough. Custom lighting, custom design work, just the whole 9 yards. It even has nav meshing done. And I actually put up a request for help, looking for a scripter to do a project with this on Nexus, and it was slightly, well, okay, it was completely ignored. Mainly because I only did I only did like a file download. I didn't actually do a video until now. So here's my plan for this. I'm going to post this video as an update to that request. I'm going to wait 5 days. If I don't get any help, I'm going to completely just upload it anyway. And it's going to be an asset, so someone can just download it and do their own thing with it. But, once again, I'm going to request help, and it's done. It's completely finished. And if I don't get any help after 5 days, then I'll upload it. Back to the actual design. I did 2 hangars, Alpha and Beta. They're actually mirrored so that, your main corridors are just flipped from the left to the right, depending upon which hangar you're in. And I made some minor changes to the actual schematics for which lifts are active and which hangar and whatnot. And you can see, and I'll admit, I have a minor Easter egg that's now being spoiled. And I gave you fair warning at the very beginning. So, there's a UFO in the hangar with some dead aliens. Just saying, you were given fair warning at the very beginning of this video. Hey, yeah, so some stuff is different. In order to squeeze the vertibirds in here, I had to do some wizardry with how I you can kind of tell it's not really supposed to fit in here based upon the current design. You can, if you wanted to get them onto the carrier deck, the only way I could think of designing this is to have them in there sideways. And every hangar has 2 main parts to the hangar, and of course the elevator compartment. That's how the hangars are designed. Now I'm showing off, I believe it's general quarters. The general quarters deck is above the hangars, but below the carrier deck. And it consists of the area above the Alpha hangar, the area above the engineering compartment, and that is all. This includes like a sort of, the ammo hoppers for the aircraft carrier, anti-aircraft cannons. You can actually see the design schematic that I have for them, and they draw their ammo from a compartment beneath the general quarters. It's important to note that I did a lot of custom design work for this. Literally, this dungeon was designed from scratch. None of this, well, I'm not going to say none of it, barely any of it exists in the game as sort of art assets you can immediately use. If you look at the ceiling, you can kind of see what I did. Like, the area for the ceiling and the area for the flooring have completely been designed from scratch, so that it has a completely unique feel from any dungeon in the existing game. For the general quarters, you are given a hospital compartment, you are given crew quarters, lavatories, a storage area, a commissary, and I also did some custom art assets for like some James Bond style golf carts that you can use to get around the area. They're there mainly they're out there just for eye candy. But yeah, what you're seeing, none of this exists in the game as as existing dungeon pieces. I actually sat down and I designed stuff completely from scratch with a unique art design and art feel to it, just for this single dungeon. And it came out okay. It came out pretty good. And like I said, I am looking for a scripter to help with this, because I have a quest idea that won't be difficult to create, but I know that trying to get a scripter on board to do something outside of their own projects is damn near impossible. So, and you can see the morgue and the hospital compartment from here. Once again, all the ceiling tiles were designed from scratch. These don't exist in the game. They only exist as something that I designed just for this one dungeon. And I'm going to quit harping on that, because I know you're probably getting tired of what amounts to boasting. But yeah, this is what I wanted to show off for the general quarters. Let's see. And you might notice that I have a unique lighting template for this. I'm more of a minimalist sort of person. I don't like designing sort of, going with a generic lighting template for like an industrial interior and then doing something like that. I prefer to do complete darkness and then craft your lighting accordingly, because I notice it gives like a better vibe. Anyway, what you're looking at now is the engineering compartment. This is where you have your nuclear reactor for the ship. This was actually the first cell that I designed for the warship. And I put up images of this onto Nexus, and it got some upvotes, and people were like, "Oh, that's shiny. Who cares?" Mainly because it's kind of difficult to show off the full, how much effort I actually put into it just with a couple of JPEGs. I think I pronounced that correctly. Yeah. Anyway, so this is what it would look like. Unique lighting. I actually wanted less lighting for this compartment, but in the end I kind of caved and I gave you, slightly more than I was willing to. What you probably noticed by now is the ribbing. All of the cells for this sort of, the aircraft carrier interior, they have a sort of, I like to refer to it as ribbing. It's mainly meant to sort of invoke a mental image of being like inside of a fish. Now I'm showing off the design for the bridge. The bridge is above the beta hangar. I think that's the one with the, yeah, I'm pretty sure the beta hangar is the one above the oh Christ, what do you call it? The UFO. And I've scattered some terminals around, and I've given like some unique backstory. but you know, it's mainly just for show. it, like just to give the impression that I actually did more than just design a dungeon. What you're seeing now is the actual bridge. This is where all the action happens. My idea for this is like you have to steal the aircraft carrier. This is the quest idea that I had. And, you know, I designed the warship accordingly to where you have to fight through the entire thing to pretty much get to the bridge. Oh, and this is the, you know, the briefing room. And, oh, by the way, remember, this is all mirrored. So, you know, everything is on the opposite side accordingly to the other area, like general quarters. So this is just reversed. And I included a a goofball weapon in here as just a sort of tradition. This is like the armory. You have a lot of weapons in the armory that you can just sort of loot. But yeah, you have the bridge, and then right above it you have like a command center. Like this is where you'd go for other things that I have planned if I can get someone on board to help me with this, which I'm admitting is extremely unlikely. I mean, I'm still going to make the effort, but yeah, I'm not holding out much in the way of hope. Because usually, if you want to recruit a scripter to your project, you kind of like need a whole lot more than this. Oh, and this is another thing. The steering area, that would usually be open. It's like, your bridge would not be run through cameras. Unless there's a Navy man who wants to correct me, in which case I will gladly do a retraction. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show you, and next time I'll show you Project 3R. And that's all.